the country of Saudi Arabia for cultural differences and international or multinational business operations. At first glance, Saudi Arabia looks to be a difficult country for international businesses to operate and to do businesses within. There is a very strong cultural and religious ethos within Saudi Arabia that has impacts on how businesses may operate. It is a very strong Islamic belief and faith country. A lot of the laws and practices for operating in a multinational business within region are based on Islamic law. There is also a strong history of the Bedouin culture, which enables that each person must be of a friendly nature or with a strong rapport with the fellow business person before business may actually be commenced or discussed. The culture of the country also restricts the imports of goods. Each good must be held at customs and checked for its adherence to the Islamic State laws. This all incurs additional costs for any business wishing to do international trade or international operations within the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Over recent years, Saudi Arabia has started to look to be more westernised. They have relaxed and reduced the working practices of females. They are, within recent times, allowing females to even own and operate their own business. They have entailed that females may work within the office place, and they are generally empowering them. They are also trying to do what they would like to call Saudi nationalism. This is a main driver and a focus that they are trying to take staff that would normally deem a role to be menial and have them be removed from the unemployment list and employed to do these tasks. Previously, they have had to use external resources from countries like Pakistan or the Philippines to fill these roles. All of these things have an impact on how you will do business in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. When you commence your business operations in Saudi Arabia, be prepared that for your first few meetings, unlike the Western world, the meetings will focus around you, your family, your values. It is quite often the case within Saudi Arabia that the views of a friend is taking above the views of even a specialist consultant or a specialist advisor. This is because of the Bedouin culture. It very much is laid that friends, family are trusted before business. These delays and these type of operating procedures are quite often frustrating for those coming from a Western environment, whereas the Western take the viewpoint that time is money and money is best spent signing the business deal. As Saudi Arabia starts to progress through with its cultural diversification and looking at how it may work in a more competitive market, they are also looking at ways that the royal family can adjust the viewpoints to Islam and financial trading. At the moment, the Saudi Arabian Stock Exchange has grown and is outgrowing the Dubai Stock Exchange. This is down to a number of changes within the way that the government has taken a view on an economic direction that they wish to go with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They have got very strong oil reserves, they have strong natural reserves, and they have a very strong ethos of state-owned company. However, they are beginning to realise that for them to compete in a ever-increasing market within the Middle East, mainly the United Arab Emirates, that they also need to focus change. I believe that the viewpoint for Saudi going forward is to continue to drive its financial markets, continue to drive its natural resource markets, but also to continue its expansion, which it's currently doing in the international market trade, with expos, with bringing in world business leaders, with looking at how they may be able to speed up or improve the process of international and multinational business within inside of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The views that most people have or have got a interpretation of within Saudi is that it is still a very difficult place to do business. However, it is a lot easier now than it was 10 years ago, and certainly a lot easier than it was 20 years ago. Similarities between the USA and Saudi Arabia is really limited only to education. Education in both countries have been a key focal point in the USA for many years, and in the last 10 years in Saudi Arabia they have invested heavily in education. Differences between operating in the two countries really come down to political, legal, socio-economic. Each one of these has massive variances between the two and affects how businesses can operate within the USA and within Saudi Arabia.
Country, I've decided to do the UK. For the costs of the multinational businesses within the UK, many national corporations agree that the maximum efficiency in the workplace depends on high diversity competence. Therefore, having different personnel from countries such as India will anger those who are from the UK, as they have pursued a career in businesses and paid a vast amount of money to universities to get those jobs. Because of this increased competition, the University of Nottingham have found that multinational businesses from the UK are destroying startup businesses and leading them to fail within the first year. Due to this disregard for others, investing in other countries such as India, who are a collectivist country and value teamwork, would not want to be with businesses in them, as they believe the disregard for the other people is not well. The future economic development of the UK can be influenced through the media. Many local media channels have associated productions have boosted the progress of the economy due to famous musicians, actors and artists such as Harry Potter, Banksy or Ed Sheeran. Additionally, with the help of the reduced pound, exports have become cheaper and the media produced is helping the reputation of the UK grow and allowing other countries such as India or Saudi Arabia to listen to these famous people. However, due to the programming license that the UK has with the EU, after Brexit they will no longer have this license, and this will result in a reduced demand for the UK content abroad, as it will not allow them to be permitted to sell in those other countries. Culture can also influence the future development of the UK, as through cultural ties, the UK is shown to be an attractive country and useful during the Brexit deal. This will lead to further negotiations and trade agreements with other countries. However, cultural influence is also a two-way street, as the UK must reciprocate other feelings from other countries, such as India, who come here and do not feel as if they are welcome most of the time. Business practices can also be influenced through media, as social media allows another platform of marketing for businesses to take. Free advertising, instead of paying for billboards or TV adverts, allows them to access the global market for free and more efficiently, and helps them create a strong brand name. However, it is difficult to pursue the older generation with this sort of methods, as they are unfamiliar with how to use technological advancements, and will therefore just result in additional costs and won't be able to target this market. Culture can also influence business practices. Pace of the business decision making, target audience and managing employees is different with different managers. When dealing with other businesses who adopt different culture, communication is also affected. This includes highlighting key topics to discuss or forming a strategic alliance to help the two managers. It could also lead to, however, a more successful business, because two different thought processes from two different upbringings, from two different mindsets, can help be unique for both partners. Also, the culturally different managers will have different ties to international people, which can result in cheaper goods.
The United States is a dominant business player, a nation fundamental principle of equality. The US is a multicultural diverse of culture. There are varieties of different culture, which means American doesn't have a stereotypical American. Culture has an influence in the business practice. The American culture is based on the belief that hard work drives success and not due to a person's age or status. A person can move up in the hierarchy due to how well they perform. So therefore, if they put in long hours and overtime, they should be able to move up in the hierarchy. In meetings, they believe when greeting someone, male or female, you must greet them with a handshake and direct eye contact. For the likely future economic development, culture also have influence. It's important for everyone to know that time is money. They emphasize the idea of getting the best result in the short time. The main goal is to get the job done quickly and efficiently. For the multicultural businesses, media also has an influence. Due to Trump becoming the president, he helped to reduce the cost for multinational companies by reducing the tax cost. Therefore, this will lead to more companies expanding into the USA, creating more revenue.
I'm going to introduce how does India culture influence costs of multinational business, of doing business in India, and how does India media influence multinational businesses. The cost of doing business in India of many industries as it related to health insurance, legal expenses, product liability, workers' compensation, medical insurance, and also health benefit, can be lower compared to the US. The cost of labor and the industrial land can also be lower than in the West. The rapid development of paper media and televisions has attracted companies to increase investment to advertise. In multinational companies' opinion, newspaper was the first choice to promote corporate branding. During the financial crisis in 2008, traditional Indian media could still boom. This is because most of the Indians still maintain traditional reading habits, which provides a solid foundation for the rapid development of paper media. In today's India, social media cannot be undermined in business market. It is the change in consumers' behavior that is changing the role of social media in India. Not only individuals, but every organization has an online presence on social media platforms. 95.7% of organizations in India use social media to build communities, 76.1% for highlighting brand news. Statistics indicated that in 2021, India internet traffic is estimated to be 291 times bigger than it was in 2005. This improvement may attract more foreign investment and multinational companies to operate in India.